Hey everybody, it's Tony Robbins. How are you doing? It seems like a crazy question asked these days, right? And here we are now, a new year, but it's also a new world. There's two worlds to master. You and I both know this. There's the external world, which we can't control, but we can.
You are here, somewhere. You can't see you, it's too far away, but you're here somewhere. Maybe here, maybe here. You could be almost anywhere here, but you're definitely here. You don't know why or for what. No one does. All you know, all I know, is that you are somewhere here, magnetized to this strange, lushly coated wet rock, floating in its designated position of endless nothing. This rock you are on, it's tiny, and you are tiny compared to this rock. Or for what? No one does. All you know, all I know, is that you are somewhere here, magnetized to this strange, lushly coated wet rock, floating in its designated position of endless nothing. This rock you are on, it's tiny, and you are tiny compared to this rock. If we zoom out a little bit, look how tiny you are. Even further, tinier. You're so tiny, your even tinier brain can't comprehend how tiny you are. Your tiny self is posted up on this tiny rock surrounded by this dark, massive, unending space that could be anything and nothing at the same time. This rock will give you life. It will give you everything you need to live on its crust for a period of time. It might feel like a while, or it might feel like no time at all, depending on what mood you're in when you consider this idea. Regardless of how it feels to you, when compared to almost everything else, it will be so short. A single frame in a movie that never ends. A frame that could be removed and nothing would really change about the movie. In this frame, you will live on this rock, then you will die, and you will have no idea what happened. No one will. If you're really lucky, you'll have some friends and family and lovers who will be sad for a little while. They'll miss you, but they'll try really hard not to, because being sad and missing someone all the time is really tiresome. It'll mess up their lives, so they'll try to work through it and move on as best they can. They might go to therapy, they might practice techniques to get through grieving. You are here, somewhere. You can't see you, it's too far away, but you're here somewhere. Maybe here, maybe here. You could be almost anywhere here, but you're definitely here. You don't know why or for what. No one does. All you know, all I know, is that you are somewhere here, magnetized to this strange, lushly coated wet rock, floating in its designated position of endless nothing. This rock you are on, it's tiny, and you are tiny compared to this rock. If we zoom out a little bit, look how tiny you are. It's too far away, but you're here somewhere. You are here, somewhere. You can't see you, it's too far away, but you're here somewhere. Maybe here, maybe here. You could be almost anywhere here, but you're definitely here. You don't know why or for what. No one does. All you know, all I know, is that you are somewhere here, magnetized to this strange, lushly coated wet rock, floating in its designated position of endless nothing. This rock you are on, it's tiny, and you are tiny compared to this rock. If we zoom out a little bit, look how tiny you are. Even further, tinier. You're so tiny, your even tinier brain can't comprehend how tiny you are. Your tiny self is posted up on this tiny rock surrounded by this dark, massive, unending space that could be anything and nothing at the same time. This rock will give you life. It will give you everything you need to live on its crust for a period of time. It might feel like a while, or it might feel like no time at all, depending on what mood you're in when you consider this idea. Regardless of how it feels to you, when compared to almost everything else, it will be so short. A single frame in a movie that never ends. A frame that could be removed and nothing would really change about the movie. In this frame, you will live on this rock, then you will die, and you will have no idea what happened. No one will. If you're really lucky, you'll have some friends and family and lovers who will be sad for a little while. They'll miss you, but they'll try really hard not to, because being sad and missing someone all the time is really tiresome. It'll mess up their lives, so they'll try to work through it and move on as best they can. They might go to therapy, they might practice techniques to get through grieving. They'll probably be somewhat successful. They will also die. If you're even more unusually lucky, you'll be missed and remembered for a little bit longer by a few more people. Perhaps you did something that impacted more people while you lived on this rock. Perhaps you were profoundly artistic, or smart, or a leader, or an inventor. When you die, perhaps more people will be sad for a little longer stretch of time. Most of these people would have never really known you though, so they won't think about you too much for too long either. And when they do, it'll mostly be a misconstruction of you based on their own ideals. They will all die. Over time, every person, every memory of a person will all die with each other. This won't matter. To you, to me, to anyone, we'll all be dead. The things you did, the words you said, the impacts you made, for good or for bad, big or small, they will all lose your name tag and will not matter to anyone or anything. So, whatever you're nervous about right now, whoever you're nervous because of, perhaps a first date, a job interview, a big presentation, an important test, a hard conversation, you might feel paralyzed with anxiety. You might feel like the course of your life is hinged on this coming moment, that the fate of reality is on your shoulders. It's not. You might be worried that you're going to do the wrong thing or fail. You might, but everything will be okay. Because for some reason, against all conceivable odds, you're on this weird rock, this planet that births life, life that births more life, novel life, intelligent life, you. In this unknowable vacuum of potential nihility, you have this playground, this consciousness, this capacity for wonder, emotion, and thought. The only real mistake you can make is to not recognize this, to never relax and enjoy the hilarious and enthralling absurdity of it all, to realize that it all means nothing beyond itself, and to find freedom and inspiration in this thought, to explore and connect with what it can mean to be a you on a rock, in a solar system, in a galaxy, in a universe, in a who knows what, to be kind and decent, to have fun, to love, to laugh, to cry, to try, to fail, to live. And to remember that no matter whatever happens, you can still do all of this. No matter what you do in life, worst case is you try your best, you be yourself, and you do what you can do with compassion, honesty, effort, and understanding. And it goes worst case. And then you move on, like everything else.
Thank you for watching. If you found enjoyment and value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you are not already, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We are constantly coming out with new videos to help you experience
A lot of people ask me, Dr. Bernard, am I in the right industry? Should I have a career switch? My marriage is very rocky. What should I do? Should I invest this year? Is your life filled with
The following is the story about the man who changed everything. The man who was born at just the right time with just the right mix of stuff. The man who found the edge of the universe. This man's name was Simon Farlander. He was born about 400 years ago, back in the year 2012, a strange time when humanity and technology began to rapidly merge and things started to change in ways that couldn't yet even be understood. In Simon's early life, he was an incredible child, many years ahead of his peers intellectually. He showed signs of genius, and it was clear that he had something special, something that allowed him to understand complex equations and ideas quickly and clearly, unlike most other children, and even many adults for that matter. Although Simon was treated somewhat uniquely as a result of his advanced intelligence, he still had a nice, ordinary early childhood. His parents treated him how any young boy should be treated, and Simon and his parents were extremely close. They would go out and and explore the world together and made efforts to ensure that Simon felt normal yet engaged in his intellect. However, at the age of 8, something horrible happened to Simon. One of those moments that completely alters the course of one's life. A moment where the curtains pull back a tiny bit more than they should for where you are sitting and reveal something that forever changes your perspective on the show of life. At the age of 8, Simon's mother contracted a rare stomach virus on an overseas business trip. Over the course of the preceding several weeks, Simon watched his mother lose all of her body weight while doctors frantically tried to figure out what was wrong with her and how to fix it. As time waned and doctors' efforts continually fell short, Simon slowly watched his mother lose her soul. Right in front of Simon's eyes, his mother died. When his mother passed, Simon looked to his father and asked, "Where does Mom go now?" His father responded, "Well, she's in a better place now. She's in heaven." Being the inquisitive and intelligent young boy that Simon was, he asked, "But what's heaven? And how is it better than being here with us?" "Well, it's peaceful. It's somewhere way up in the sky past everything. Somewhere right at the edge of the universe," responded Simon's father. In Simon's youthful optimism, he took this very literally. He believed that this edge of the universe was a real place that, if he could find it, he would find his mother. How could it not be real, after all? His father told him it was, so it must be. And so, Simon decided in this moment that he would find it. As Simon grew older, he began to mature and his intelligence began to form more lucidly. He would soon realize that no one, including his father, had any real clue as to what they were talking about. That no one knew what was going on, who anyone was, where anyone came from, or where anyone was going. Simon found this lack of understanding infuriating. How could no one know what was going on? How could even his own father make such claims? How could everyone just act like they had it all under control and make stuff up to try and cope with the fact that no one really does? Simon refused to accept this. Simon refused to play along with the ruse. Instead of being like most children when they turn into young adults and let their youthful hopes and dreams die, the dream Simon had about finding the edge of the universe was a dream he continued to sustain. Only now he refined it and pursued it intellectually. He made it his life's mission to research and understand the conditions of the universe and the meaning of life, to find out what all of this nonsense was about, to see if his mother was still out there somewhere. Simon would embark on a career in physical cosmology, a field concerned entirely with the structure and dynamic of the universe, its source, and its ultimate fate. This undertaking deeply excited Simon. It got him up early every day and kept him up late every night. Through his late teens and early 20s, his enthusiasm combined with his blossoming genius got him into an Ivy League college and an amazing PhD program. After completing college, Simon went on to join a major leading research organization. Every step along the way through school and his career, Simon would learn a little bit more about the laws and theories of the universe. Every step made Simon feel a little more hopeful and excited. Hopeful and excited that there was something new and incredible to be discovered. By the year 2043, Simon had worked his way up into a lead role in the research organization. At this time, the company was developing a mission to the planet Mars with the intent to create the first ever interplanetary research group based on another planet's surface. Simon was assigned the lead of this mission. For Simon, this adventure yet again rejuvenated his hopefulness and excitement for life. The idea that he would be one step closer to the edge of the universe, one step closer to touching more truth. This kept the fire burning inside of him. Once on Mars, Simon led the research team that would mine the landscape seeking discoveries and looking for resources that could be of practical and theoretical use to human life. As more and more time would pass, Simon would prove to be an incredibly successful leader and was responsible for many discoveries that dramatically benefited humanity. Simon's hopefulness, intrigue, and success became a major factor in humanity's inspiration to continue forward into the cosmos and explore several other new planets thereafter. Soon, humanity would begin to travel deeper and deeper into the unknown. Every step and every discovery along the way would reveal a little bit more about reality and constantly renew Simon's excitement and hope. Like blindly putting our hand into a box without knowing what's inside, the deeper and deeper humanity reached, the further the anticipation and excitement built. But the question remained, how far could we reach? What was at the bottom of this box? With a longer life expectancy than ever before as a result of new technology and medical treatments, Simon's ability to maintain intellectual momentum and continue leading humanity further into the cosmos exceeded far beyond any possibility of the past. And Simon wasn't going to stop. Over the next many years, Simon would go on to become the most intelligent, innovative, and profound individuals to ever cross humanity, a super genius as some might call him. As technological, theoretical, and medical advancements compounded even further, humanity's understanding about the universe unfolded more and more, all the way up until humanity became a Type 3 civilization. A civilization that possesses the knowledge of how to use and control energy at the scale of its entire host galaxy. And it was, of course, one of Simon's discoveries that allowed this to happen. In the year 2330, Simon discovered a method of using a galactic nucleus named Blazar as an energy source, which would bring humanity into Type 3 and provide it with interstellar and interdimensional travel capabilities. Simon would become a sort of supreme leader in this new order of the universe, determining the places humanity would go and what it would acquire, build, and use within the universe. And most importantly to Simon, for the first time, he now had the ability of finding, if it existed, the very edge of the universe. Some more years passed and Simon would find himself on the furthest planet in the furthest galaxy away from Earth ever inhabited by human. While on this planet, he noticed something.
In January this year, I did ayahuasca with a shaman from Colombia. Now, for those of you who have never heard of this, ayahuasca is a form of plant medicine. It opens up your mind to new levels of connection, and it gets you into what is called an altered state. Now, altered states are fascinating to me. These are different levels of mind that let you tap into human abilities that we in the modern world
Our universe is one of immense and inconceivable scale, punctuated by at least 76 billion stars, oases of light permeating the dark. There are more stars in our universe than there are grains of sand on every beach on Earth. It's an absurd number that defies human comprehension. Yet, despite this abundance of cosmic landmarks, there's a certain irony that we live in a universe where the outposts of concentrated matter are few and far between. If each star were indeed shrunk down to the size of a grain of sand, then the typical separation between each grain would be about 6 miles. So that's sort of the distance from here at Columbia to downtown Manhattan in the Greenwich Village. Now that distance, which is about 4 light years coming back to physical units, is so great that it represents an immense challenge to our modern spacecraft. For example, it would take our most remote spacecraft, Voyager 2, another 80,000 years to traverse such a distance. And that's just our nearest star. The nearest galaxy is 500,000 times further out than this. When faced with such epic distances, such timescales, it seems like the universe simply forbids the dream of human astronauts ever exploring the depths of space. Like a cosmic joke teasing us with jewels of exploration which will always be out of reach. And it's at times like these that we tend to dream of other solutions based on exotic physics such as warp drives or wormholes. But to the best of our knowledge, these are theoretically implausible. What about using real, proven physics? In our recent videos, we discussed the halo drive as a possible means for interstellar travel, but even that system isn't fast enough to get you to other galaxies. Remarkably, there is a trick using proven physics that might allow a person to travel between even distant galaxies on a human lifetime. But like making a deal with the devil, it comes at such a steep price that you might not be so quick to want to sign up. A cost that emerges as a natural consequence of Einstein's special theory of relativity. Today, we're going to be taking a trip on board the constantly accelerating spacecraft. Let's imagine that we have constructed a ship capable of accelerating at 1g for as long as we like. That means that its velocity increases by 10 meters per second for each and every second that ticks by. So for example, after 10 seconds it will be traveling at 100 meters per second and have covered a distance of half a kilometer. We're just going to leave aside the issue of how a spaceship could actually conduct such a feat for the moment and just assume it is true. And that's simply for the purpose of keeping this video focused and on point. And similarly, we are going to assume that a spaceship has perfect shielding, capable of withstanding any kind of impact or radiation you can imagine. One benefit of the constant acceleration would be that this would push the crew back towards the rear of the ship, with the same force that the Earth pins us to the ground, thereby creating artificial gravity, something we've discussed in our previous video in much more depth. And so life on board would be relatively pleasant, working and living much like we do here on Earth. A ship that undergoes constant acceleration starts out slow, but gains ever more momentum over time as its voyage continues. So this is a bit like compound interest. Your gains look small to begin with, but over a long period of time, those gains rapidly accumulate. After just 2.5 hours, we would have sailed past the moon. After 1.5 days, we'd be at Mars. And after 3 weeks, we'd have overtaken Voyager 2 and left the solar system altogether. By this point, our ship would be traveling at 40 million miles per hour, or about 6% the speed of light. That's far faster than any spaceship we've built has ever traveled before. It's fast, but it's not fast enough for Einstein's theory of special relativity to really come into play yet. As we leave the solar system, we head out towards our nearest star system, Alpha Centauri, and see it gradually increase in brightness as we approach, whilst the sun rescinds into just another speck of light behind us. The next year is fairly uneventful. Life on board is probably rather mundane as the days, weeks, and months tick by. Yet, with each day, your ship travels about 2 million miles per hour faster than it did the day before. It's now impossible to have a live conversation with your friends and family back on Earth. The time it takes for radio waves to travel back and forth is now many months. Yet, the loneliness is somewhat alleviated by regular letters from home, updating you about the latest family news, sports results, scientific breakthroughs, and political scandals back on Earth. After 15 months into your journey, your crew celebrates crossing the first light year. You're now just under 1/4 the distance to Alpha Centauri, but over 1/3 of the way in terms of outbound journey time, and that's thanks to the ship's constant acceleration. There's another milestone that you and your crew realize you have passed as well, and that's what physicists call your Lorentz factor, given by this famous equation right here, has now passed a factor of 2. That means that the time dilation between you and Earthbound observers is now a factor of 2, and thus Earthbound observers would seem to see you moving in slow motion on board the ship. From this point on, Einstein's theory of special relativity will have an ever greater influence on you and your ship. That's because you are now traveling away from the Earth at 87% the cosmic speed limit, the speed of light. Now, if there were no such limit, then you should expect to cross the speed of light in 45 days' time. But Einstein's theory, a theory which has been rigorously tested and proven back on Earth, states that nothing can move faster than the speed of light. Moreover, all observers, no matter what their speed, will always observe the speed of light to be the same. Now, this is very non-intuitive. If a horse chases down a moving train, then the train appears to be moving slower than usual from the horse's perspective. But relativity says that no matter how fast that horse is running, if the train is a beam of light, then it will always appear to recede away at exactly the same speed, the speed of light. The horse can never catch up. If the speed of light is a constant to all observers, then the mind-bending consequence is that space and time are not constant. They shift to accommodate this rule. And that's exactly what happens here with our ship. Time shifts such that observers back on Earth seem to see the crew moving slower than usual on board, and even space shifts such that the ship itself appears squashed in length, and both of those effects scale with this famous Lorentz factor, which at this point in our journey is a factor of 2. This even affects your perceived acceleration. From Earth's perspective, you are now no longer accelerating at 1g, but rather your acceleration appears to be getting ever smaller as you approach the speed of light. Despite the fact on board, you still feel a 1g acceleration. On board the ship, of course, you and your crew would not think anything had changed. Time appears to be running just like usual. But you would notice some strange things outside of the ship. Looking back at the sun, you'd notice that it would have appeared to have faded into darkness, much faster than you'd expect from simple distance scaling. By the time your Lorentz factor is 2, it's now 10,000 times dimmer, only detectable with the ship's onboard telescope, as a result of relativistic aberration and time dilation effects. Not only this, but light from the sun now appears increasingly red-shifted, due to the relativistic Doppler shift. So red in fact that it now emits mostly in the infrared band where your eyes can't even see it. But ahead of you, the opposite has happened. Alpha Centauri now appears 10,000 times brighter than it would if you were not moving. Yet, most of its radiation is now arriving as high-energy ultraviolet light. Not only this, but the constellations ahead of you would appear distorted, warped into a kind of tunnel vision illusion. In a very real way, as you accelerate ever faster, you begin to disconnect from the rest of the universe. But accelerating forever is not an option because we don't have infinite fuel on board, and at some point we're going to want to slow down, step off the ship, and reconnect to the rest of the universe. So one way of doing this is to accelerate your ship up to about the halfway mark in your journey, then flip the ship over on its head and accelerate in the opposite direction, thus bringing you to a stop at some distant destination.